Texas bill would allow the death penalty for patients who get abortions. So I'm going to read the whole description and then we'll react.
Is this clickbait? Is this real? No, not clickbait?
No. So, but let me read the whole description and then we'll react, because there's some stuff in here that's insane.
Read the title one more time, but slowly, because this is unbelievable.
Texas bill would allow the death penalty for patients who get abortions.
All right. Let's hear it.
In Texas, it was a recently proposed bill called the Abolition of Abortion in Texas Act, which would allow punishing women with the death penalty for having abortions. There were no exceptions made for victims of rape or incest. According to the Washington Post, it would make it possible to charge a woman with homicide for having the procedure. Representative Tony Tinderholt, who introduced the bill, states that it would make people, quote, consider the repercussions of having sex. Though the bill is unlikely to pass, it may still be part of a bigger scheme in the anti-abortion alliances to introduce laws that would challenge Roe v. Wade, which is a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court. Reproductive rights activists considered Tinderholt's proposal a preview of what could happen if Roe v. Wade is overturned. So when I've read this, and it was like, this representative said that it would make people consider the repercussions of having sex. I was like, what in the Sharia? What?
Actually, you know what? I'm glad he said that, because they're finally saying what they mean. Okay? That's part of what's going on here, is that they're telling women that if you have sex outside of this prescribed box, or even if you don't, if something happens to you, you are ultimately responsible for that, and you must be punished, and the punishment is having the baby. And he's basically saying that. And so at least somebody's finally saying what they really mean. But the thing is this whole thing, they know that this isn't going to be passed. This is on purpose to try and get laws like this to the Supreme Court, so that the Supreme Court will take up a case so that they can rule on Roe. And there was an Alabama law that was very restrictive as well against abortion, and I think they were punishing doctors, not the women. And this is so unique because they're punishing women. But the governor or whomever introduced the bill said exactly that. This is so we can try and get it to the Supreme Court.
Hey guys, before we get back to that video, YouTube has fully demonetized our channel for supposedly hateful and harmful conduct, without telling us what we did wrong. If we get to 1,000 patrons, we will be able to keep paying all our team, our editors, our artists, without ever having to worry about monetization again, which would be amazing. Yay! So please support Atheist Republic on Patreon. Link in the description below.
And the other part of this is there hasn't been a judgment about when somebody is a person, except for to say 21 weeks, so to speak, is where they've made that judgment most of the time, because that's where, it becomes, and that's what they used to call the quickening, when nobody cared about whether people had abortions or not, because it was all women's business. So it's about 4 months. You can feel the baby move, things like that. So that's really the point where people have said, okay, here's where we're drawing a line, because you have to draw a line somewhere in the law. So, but this is intended exactly to go to the Supreme Court, intended to waste taxpayer money through all these lawsuits to bring it to that point.
So first of all, so they don't, the understanding, so for people who say that this is exactly like, I don't know, Iran, or first of all, in Iran, they don't execute people for abortions. But the understanding was like they don't. Then this wasn't going to pass. So it's not like when people read this title, they think now a bill would allow it. Like, oh my God, it's now the law of the land. Like even the people who wrote this bill, they didn't want this to pass. This was just like a way to send a message, right? Suze?
Or test the waters.
Or they
All right,
want it
so-
to pass,
yeah,
or it does pass,
I-
and then it's appealed, and there's a
it's my-
moratorium from a
It
judge.
is my turn. to
I
speak.
was explaining. You asked,
right.
and I'm
Yeah,
explaining.
I just yes or no. I just wanted to. But okay, so what was I saying? Now I forgot. Oh, so but and the message that they're trying to send when Susie said that for people to consider their actions before they do an abortion, was that maybe I misheard? Like, was that the understanding that the message is that maybe you do deserve to die if you commit abortion? Is that the message, Suze? Or yes or no?
My bill simply accomplishes one goal, Tinderholt said in a statement to social media. It brings equal treatment for unborn human beings under the law. So, like, you're going to kill this unborn human being, we're going to kill you.
Okay, so it's a PR stunt. I have to say, this is the most consistent thing I've heard from Christian lawmakers regarding abortion. Because if you actually talk to a lot of of conservatives, right, who are pro the death penalty. So here's how they're inconsistent, right? Do you say do you think somebody who should commit murder, are you for the death penalty for them, or yes or no? They say yes, they are. And then you ask them, do you think there's anything difference between a fetus, an unborn fetus, when it comes to and a born human being when it comes to rights? All right? They're like, no. Then you say, well, do you think somebody who commits abortion should be put to death? And they're like, no. But they're like, wait a minute, that's a contradiction. So they are not, even the people who think there is, when it comes to rights, there should be no difference between a fetus and a grown-ass adult or a child, born child. They can see that, no, they don't value a fetus as much as a born child, because if they did, they would think that abortions would have to lead, if they are for the death penalty for killing a child, then they would have to be for the death penalty for abortions. So why are you not for the death penalty? Like, even they understand that these are not the same thing, or else they would be consistent about it, right? So I think the value in this bill is to show a lot of Christians maybe where the reasonings would take them. Are they not for the death penalty for abortions? And if not, why not? What do you guys think?
I agree with you. That's what I said at the outset, that they're finally actually saying what they really mean. I also think it's interesting to have a discussion about prevention of abortion through the threat of state execution, rather than have a discussion about prevention of abortion through sex education, contraceptives, better programs for families. Because what a lot of people do not want to talk about is the huge number of women who are married and have children who have abortions, because they don't have the infrastructure to take care of the kids that they do have. There's no family leave, paid maternity, there's all these things, childcare. So bringing another child in when you already are struggling because you have no support. So there's all these methods that could also prevent abortions.
Oops, I just realized something.
None of those seem to be on the table. So that's why I'm agreeing with Armin, is that they're actually saying for once what they really mean. Keep your legs closed or get punished. And the punishment is either having the baby, and if you won't do that, we'll kill you.
Suze? Something wrong about the news?
I made a mistake.
What?
This is from April 2019.
Oh, okay. It's okay.
And it didn't
It's good.
pass.
It's still a
Okay,
good
good.
discussion.
Yes, a good discussion. And we were right. It wasn't meant to pass, and it didn't pass. All right.
Just a second.
Didn't pass. When did we know about it? When did we come out that it didn't pass?
I would take a second to find that, but I will come in with a quick save. I'll come in with a quick save because in March 10th, a different lawmaker introduced a similar bill making abortion punishable by death.
Wait, March 10 this year?
What? Yes.
Oh, what? Okay, wow. So this keeps happening.
Yes.
And it's
You
a
guys-
deliberate
So
ploy.
the issue at hand still stands. Okay,
Wait.
just different lawmaker.
So, Suze, you should be thankful that Texas is constantly trying to issue death penalty for people who commit abortion. Because, as much as I'm against death penalty for abortion,
I didn't look stupid this one time.
I'm so grateful that Texan lawmakers are so dumb to constantly pass laws like this.
No,
because
introduce
It
bill.
made my story. Yeah, it made my introduce bills. It made it made my story relevant. You can
Human
count.
of-
You can
human of
count
late
on
cap-
You can count on Texan lawmakers for their idiocy. So that's what we learned from today. Wow.
human of
And the
late
reason-
capitalism.
Wow. What are the
that
chances?
based Susanna. Hello,
What?
based department.
Wait, what the hell are the chances? So even though you notice that this is a story from 2019, once you looked into it, it came March this year. They did almost the same thing.
Well, no,
Again.
I know exactly what. So the legislator, just for correction, they introduced this new bill in 2021 is
Wow.
Brian Slatton. Okay, I know what happened. I saw news about this news being introduced. I was looking
Ah.
for a different source, and I
Mhm.
sent that other source without checking the date to our editor.
Right.
lesson
So
learned.
you saw that this happened and you didn't like the first source, so you came up with another source. But this story is so similar to what recently happened. It's
I
okay.
think that
You know what?
why they did it is because it's actually a legal strategy that people have used for things that people are glad about, like miscegenation laws and things like that. So they're going to keep doing it in a lot of these states that are very anti-choice. They're going to keep introducing them, keep either letting the bill fail or it passes and then a judge puts a moratorium on it until at some point they have a case that they think the Supreme Court will hear.
This means that we don't even have to check the news. We could just randomly every once in a while just have a headline that
Ohio would be another one. Texas
God
and
damn it, I
Ohio.
can't even finish my sentence and I wasn't even being serious.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means that you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So, if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.